Hey everyone, we're TowawayCouple. I'm Tom, the driver.
And I'm Bunny, the tanning girl.
The tanning girl?
I'm the one that's getting all of the sun on our window.
That's true. Every direction we go.
This arm is
You're gonna
darker
have a
than this
farmer's
arm.
tan.
I am.
All right, so today we're going to talk about window tinting.
Yes.
All right, so
well, not having window tint really sucks.
Not having and on our badass truck.
Right. I can't do like the evil stare at people when we drive by
because they can clearly see you. Because our window tint was pretty dark when we started this.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that it was illegal or anything, but
so we started this back in July in the hot part of the summer.
Yeah.
And of course, they make all of us, and it pretty much was all of us, scrape all of our tint off of our driver's side window and the passenger side window. The DOT regulations say if you're in a commercial vehicle, you can't have tint on the driver, passenger, or the front windshield.
Right.
I mean, if it's a part of the windshield, it's one thing, but you can't have added tint.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So we all scraped it off in a couple.
I cried.
Yeah, Bunny cried. I mean, we had 3M tint on there. We spent a lot of money on that.
We did spend a lot of money on it.
So a bunch of us were kind of like, well, we'll scrape it off for this and kind of go retint later on. And, you know, it's just for the initial company inspection. Well, we never put ours back on.
No.
Thank God.
Thank God. But we do have a lot of friends who are truck drivers, and they're like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Don't even mess with it. It's not worth it.
When you're in orientation and you're talking amongst the guys and the girl, Bunny was giving out water during the orientation. They didn't even supply water.
It was hotter.
It was hotter than hell. Everyone's like ready to pass out. And we happen to have a case of cold water.
I was not only giving around water, but our razor blades so everybody could scrape their window tint off.
Right, and our glass cleaner. So anyway, when you're talking to the guys, I mean, your testosterone, you're like, oh, I'm going to go put my window tint back on. Screw this. And I'll risk it. I'll go through the scale houses. So we have talked to quite a few people. We talked to a lot of truck driver friends, and they're like, don't do it. You could probably get an excuse to allow you to have window tint if you have stuff wrong with your eyes. But from what we're hearing, that does not fly.
Well, no. Especially, it depends too. You get in and you're going through an inspection, and you might have the DOT officer that is having a bad day. And that's going to trigger him.
Or he was the picked on kid in high school, and he's going to take it out on the cool kids like us. Right. Just kidding.
Who think we can put window tint back on our windows.
Right. So we never actually put window tint back on our windows. We were thinking about doing a UV tint or a light tint just because the sun is just getting brutal again. But I don't even know if even UV tint is allowed. You have your factory windows and then anything altering it. I don't want to get into a debate with especially when they have the clipboard, the pen, and all kinds of things they can violate you on.
Do you really want to
put
push
you out
it?
of service?
Yes. Now we have in this run that we did. I think we were gone. This time we were out 3 weeks.
We were out 3 weeks,
and we ran into like 3 or 4 people that actually had just gotten tickets for window tint.
Well, I talked to one. And we were dropping off, and I could see his windows were all screwed up. And I'm like, what the heck happened to his windows? I mean, it looked like when we all scraped our tint off, ours came off pretty clean, but where all that adhesive is still on there and you razor blade, and it just has all these, it looks like big old scratches and scuffs. So I walked up and I said, hey, what happened to your windows? And he goes, I got pulled into a way station. I'm like, you got pulled in? He goes, yep. And I said, they get you on tint? And he goes, yep. And I'm like, okay, that explains it. Mm-hmm. So I happen to have a big can of glass cleaner, and he had his rusty razor blade. I mean, literally, they out of serviced him over window tint until he could pull it off. He was not going nowhere. Thank God he had a razor blade, because these troopers do not supply you with anything to put you back in service. So I talked to him while we got all the adhesive off of his windows, and I asked him, I said, so they actually marked you out of service? He says, yes. And I said, did they actually give you a ticket, or were they the nice guy? And he goes, oh no, I got a ticket, and the company got a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So he got a ticket and the company got a ticket. So I don't know what the company will do to him. I know that in our manual, they call you into compliance, and they have a list of punishments all the way up to termination.
Some of them too will not only they'll charge you for that ticket.
Right.
Plus more.
So like, let's just say you get dinged $250 on a ticket. The company that I was working for, they would ding you like 10,000 safety miles or 3,000 safety miles. They would literally ding you off of that because you get bonuses on that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would charge you $150 to $250 for that ticket. And you have your own ticket you have to pay. So in essence, they aren't paying theirs. They're just making you pay theirs.
Right. Now, in every state is
different. But it's
different.
your fault.
And every state is different on how much they're going to charge you too.
Well, this one was $500 to the driver.
And the one, I talked to a gentleman in the restaurant the other day, and he did the same thing. He thought, oh, well, they just can't have it on there for orientation. So he went back out the next week, put his window tint back on, and lo and behold, he got pulled over.
Ooh.
He didn't get pulled in. He got pulled over, and it was a $500 fine.
Now, when I had a trooper following me, and I didn't have my placards on. I wasn't pulling anything. I wasn't even under dispatch. We were heading back to Indiana, but we could have been going anywhere for that case. We weren't under dispatch.
We had been off for a week or so.
Yeah, so I didn't even have my logbooks or nothing going. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I see a Charger come up behind me in the left lane. I was doing the speed limit. I was on 70 miles an hour, and this Charger comes racing up, and I'm like, wow, that looks just like her Charger, because her front grille is very unique. It's not those two ovals. It's a very cool looking sporty grille. I'm like, I have not seen too many Chargers like that. And all of a sudden, I see two LEDs in the grille, and I thought, oh dear God, with that big old mud flap on the back of our truck and the load leveler hitch.
Is that US? Is that 31?
That was 65. I-65.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's right. Yeah. But
we were going through Tennessee or Kentucky.
You can definitely tell we were heading back in.
Well, yeah, they knew we were coming, and he paced me for a while. And I'm like, he's running my license plate. It's going to come back commercial. It's going to come back leased. I don't know how it comes back. I know that when you lease with the company, you got to give them your registration, your plate number, and everything else. I don't know if that goes into a commercial database. I don't know. We got to find that out. So we'll let you know. But all of a sudden, he does the slow come up beside me. And when he looked in my driver's window, and he knew no tint, I'm commercial. He's looking for placards. I don't have placards. And next thing you know, he just raced on. And he was doing like 80, 90 after that. And I thought, my heart had to come down like 50 beats a second, 100 beats a second. I was ready to throw up in myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would have been.
I don't know.
Because technically it's your own vehicle, and you're allowed to drive it as a personal vehicle.
Right. And like I said, we had been at home.
And if you're going
were we at home? No, we weren't even at home. We were we were on a little vacation. We were with some friends.
Right.
And we were heading back in.
But yeah, technically if you're under dispatch, you got to be on the logbook. Some people log dispatched or not. That's great. I just get lazy, and also, I want to drive for more than 11 hours, and if you're under your logbooks, you can't do that.
Right.
So, but yeah, no. If I had tinted windows, I bet he would have pulled me over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was looking.
Yeah, and
his windows, his passenger and driver's window were as dark as his back windows, and they were pitch black. I looked over, I couldn't even see in his car, and I'm like, you dirty, rotten.
So no, the window tint, yeah, definitely you're not allowed to have it.
Yeah, you know what?
People do run with it, but to me, to me, if we're pulling a unit and it's only paying $700, I don't want to pay $500 in the fine.
And possibly get deleased from your company
Correct.
because they got fined. So yeah, it's not worth it for you to make money and for your company to punish you. Overall, just suck it up and live with it. But you can do whatever you want. Where you're not your mom and dad.
The other day we went by a diesel and I started laughing. I told Tom, I'm like, well, damn, if window tint is illegal, what about all those papers that he had taped to the side of his window? He took like pieces of paper and taped them up on the inside of the window.
Because the sun is so brutal.
But it is. See, this arm is getting darker than this arm.
Right.
I have to go tanning.
But yeah, no, a friend of ours, his windows were tinted at the dealership. I don't think it was factory. I think it was just a dealership tint. I think after I told him what happened with that one guy, I think he's going to scrape it off. But might as well. If you're going to go to orientation, they are, well...
It depends.
Depends on what company.
Depends on where you go.
If you go to Horizon Orientation, they are going to look at your vehicle. They're going to look everything over. Just scrape it off. Scrape it off before you leave your house.
Oh, now, people did go into Elkhart and spent $100 to have it removed, but
you don't need to do that.
We didn't. And you know what? For us too, yeah, it was a gamble because our truck was 3 years old at the time and the window tint was pretty baked on, but it came right off.
And not only that, you just get a $3 razor blade from your hardware store, the scraper razor blade, and just get that can of it's a white and blue can. I'll put a video or an image of what we use. Get a can of that and a scraper, and then after you take your window tint off, spray that on the adhesive, let it sit for a second, and then use your scraper, not a rag, and it will come off. This guy literally that I talked about, that I helped out, what did we take 10 minutes to do both windows? And they were about 90%. We didn't do a detailed job, but imagine if we spent 20 minutes. They would have looked brand new. But why pay a company 50, 60, or $100 to remove your tint when you could do it yourself? And I'll bet you if you have a heat gun or a hairdryer and you heat it up really good.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point.
I'll bet you it'll just peel right off.
That's a good point because when we took ours off, it was like 100 degrees outside.
And it came right off.
And it did. It was easy.
Yep. So we did this video because honestly, we were going to put our tent back on. After talking to these few people, we are 1,000% happy we did not, because it could have cost us money.
Yeah.
And it could have put us out of service. We don't have a razor blade in our truck, so we could have been screwed. Oh, I guess we do have a razor blade in our truck. Got to talk to what's your title now? Razor blade holder?
Razor blade. Oh, that doesn't even sound good.
All right. So until next time, we just wanted to bring up the tent real quick.
Right. So definitely they will pull you over and they will give you a ticket.
See you down the road.
Bye.